This is America's Man's Man. How you doing? Listen, I want to talk about the inevitability syndrome, the defeatist attitude of the patriot today. Is there anything more paradoxical in the world? And yet, the fake news has imposed this sense in our collective consciousness that somehow defeat is inevitable. That if you are against interracial, white men should not be screwing around with Chinese women or black women or anything. This whole Prince Harry thing. We know what happened there, but or the Marxist. What it comes down to is Marxism. Okay. Even if you disagree with that, because the fake news has gotten such a stranglehold on your heart, where the Bible and God and your pastor ought to be speaking into it, but they're too afraid to because they're a bunch of cucks. They are. I'm sorry to say, most pastors today, most people who call themselves a pastor in America today are cucks. They are. They're absolute cucks. I don't think that's not a curse, is it? I don't know. But, and I know it's a rather damning term, at least to some people, but that's kind of the reality of it. So maybe you don't care if you're a cuck. Maybe you're happy to be a cuckified, wussified mangina with a capital P in the case of anyway. But what it all comes down to is this. It's called sorry, I'm driving here. The governor of Massachusetts has said that he's trying really hard to double the tax on gasoline. I think it would effectively double the price of gasoline, or at least double the tax. And his rationale is, it's just I want to be on the right side of history. This is inevitable, okay? So sorry. I work several jobs while I'm making these videos. So thank you for keeping up with me here. We're not speaking to you from an ivory tower. And this is, obviously an issue that affects me, not for any particular reason of heart, but because it's going to cost me a lot of money if the devilish governor of Massachusetts, I almost said Deval for a moment, if Charlie Baker does this, just like he promoted sodomy. It's like, I don't want to be on the wrong side of history. Well, that's the fake news side of history, and the fake news is going away fast, okay? Because people are tuning into the truth. Videos like this, even though YouTube is going to access video, so go ahead and follow me on americasmansman.com. americasmansman.com. Yep, that's how we steer and video at the same time. americasmansman.com is where you want to follow me, because Google is... It's only a matter of time. Now, that much is sure. It's not only a matter of time that America will fall into the ocean. California maybe, but not America. But what's at the heart of this? Well, it's the, when people say things like our stupid governor Charlie Baker, who has no spine. He was brought up to argue around the dinner table. That was their virtue. Oh, can you argue? It doesn't matter whether you're right or wrong. Just that you argue your point successfully. It's just a never-ending debate with Charlie Baker. Okay, and so he's like James Comey, and they both have this same stupid Massachusetts ethic. It's good if you want to kind of get a leg up on your neighbor, but ultimately, if you're trying to lead a commonwealth, or if you're trying to lead, say the greatest nation in the world, it's not good. It's very bad. And it's very bad because there's no moral in it. It's not, he has no spine. He has no standing place. He's going to do whatever gets him re-elected. And Charlie Baker, and many of these pussyfooting Democrats are still of the fake news mindset. And he's actually a rhino, but same thing these days. He's of the mindset that he wants to be on the right side of history, this is okay. So let's trace this to this whole idea of progressivism. Again, progressing in the wrong direction is what the left is doing. It's not real. It's not really progressive because they're progressing backwards. They're actually regressing. But again, this is their word play that they use. Really clever, shrewd marketing. Not really, but the fake news pushes it so much people have started to believe it. So it's this inevitability myth. Oh, gee, I don't want to be on the wrong side of history. I don't want to look like Robert E. Lee, who's a great gentleman, by the way, great general. I don't want to be on the wrong side of history. I don't want to go down as a racist, which is what the Sodomites are saying, that anyone who opposes marriage will be remembered forever as a homophobe or whatever the flork they're saying these days. See, I didn't say the F word, pastors. Okay. So this thing is, it's inevitable. It's going to happen eventually. No, it's not going to happen. The green, the so-called green New Deal, that's not going to happen either. It's not inevitable. It's not that's a recipe for America's demise. It's a defeatist attitude, and conservatism has always been riddled with defeatism in America because the fake news is constantly pushing that Russian propaganda. And who does it go back to? It goes back to Karl Marx. Okay. He just kept saying the homosexuals did the same thing. Oh, you're feeble. What is it? Resistance is futile. All that sort of thing. But it's wrong. It's dead wrong. Okay. So anytime you hear someone talk like that, well, I don't want to be on the wrong side of history, it goes back to that Marxist lie, those Marxist threats that, this is the inevitable future. We're going to create a utopia on Earth because everyone's going to realize it's the right thing. We're going to be peace and love and kumbaya. Just write it off as hogwash and say, no, I love my country. I'm not a globalist. I believe that we are the greatest nation in the world, and I really do believe that, and we're going to kick some butt, and we're going to take names. We're not Marxists here in America. So don't buy it when you hear the leftists, the communists like Charlie Baker say, it's inevitable. Like Green New Deal is something of the future, or a race of all brown people is the future in America, or America has seen its last days, and we're gonna submit to the rest of the world now, and they're gonna nuke us. Iran's gonna nuke us, and we're gonna like it. We're gonna take it, and we're gonna like it. We're gonna let Iran nuke us up the ass. And that's the right side of history. I don't want to be on the wrong side of history. Just F off fake news. F off Marxism. Okay, this is America's man's man.